Great photographers don't see the world the same way everyone else does. They notice things that most people completely miss. Things like light, composition, timing. And the good news is, these aren't talents they're born with. They're skills you can learn. In this video, I'll show you 9 things great photographers notice that most people miss. And once you're seeing those things, you'll never look at photography the same way again. I'm Mark from the Burgerines, and on this channel, we share practical photography advice, so subscribe if you want to learn more. All right, section 1, light. The first thing photographers notice is light. The same scene can look completely different depending on the light. The first and most common type of light is front light. Front light is simple, it's clean, it's flattering. The light is hitting your subject directly from the front. And it works really well for portraits, travel photos, family photos, bright, colorful scenes. It minimizes shadows and creates a very natural look. But sometimes it starts to feel a little flat, a little boring, a little dull. And that brings me to my next type of light, which is side light. Now, side light adds depth, texture, mood, dimension, and this is where photography starts to feel a little more dynamic. It creates shadows that help subjects feel more three-dimensional. Once you start to look for it, you'll notice side light constantly in movies, storytelling portraits, and dramatic landscapes that really have a lot of depth. And honestly, just moving around your subject can completely transform an image. So before you take that one picture and you think, I got it, I always recommend moving around your subject from multiple angles. And if you're feeling stuck, it really helps you to see things from different angles, and you might notice light in a different way. The third type of light, which I'm guilty of really appreciating, is backlight. Backlight is where light source is behind your subject, and it creates a glow, it creates rim light, it creates silhouettes, it creates atmosphere. It's one of the most emotional types of light in photography, and honestly, this is why we used it a lot in our wedding photography. There are just so many scenes that look good with backlight, but it's also tricky to expose. Now, that's gotten easier with modern cameras and more dynamic range in sensors. I remember years ago, we would utilize all kinds of techniques to try to maximize that dynamic range and depth, but it still can be tricky and intimidating. But once you learn it, your images start to feel more professional. I think the key for me is finding that transition point between light and shadow and put your camera in that spot. It can be magic. This next section, section 2, is about composition. The second thing photographers notice is framing. They don't just look at subjects, they look at relationships. And one of the fastest ways to improve your photography is to start changing what you include in the frame. So let's talk composition. And that often involves choosing a lens. So if you're thinking through different types of lenses, head down to the link in the description and get our free focal length field guide. It has some great tips on choosing lenses and really making that decision, which will help inform the types of shots you make. So, wide shots. They establish the scene. They show the environment, scale, context. This is where the viewer understands, where are we? Wide photos really work well for landscapes, travel, adventure, environmental portraits, which Brenda just made a video on, so go check that out here. But beginners often have the mistake of including too much in the frame, making wide scenes just look kind of lost and unintentional. So if you like shooting really wide photos, it can be important to make sure that you're decisive with what you include. And that leads us to the medium shot. Now, medium shots are that in between. They're not wide, they're not super tight and focused in. They feel balanced, not too far away, not too close. And it's a lot of where the storytelling in photography can happen. Once you start to focus on those medium shots, you'll start to notice the subject, the environment, and the relationships between elements in the frame. And honestly, medium shots are probably some of the hardest to master because they can easily feel cluttered. Again, wide shots can feel cluttered and unintentional. Medium shots can also fall symptom to that. So you have to simplify intentionally and frame your shot and decide what extraneous elements you can eliminate to make it more impactful. And that brings us to tight or telephoto or focused shots. Tight shots remove distractions. They focus your attention on one subject. And sometimes the best photo isn't the entire scene, it's the detail. It's the hands, it's an expression of the face, it's texture, it's eyes, it's gear, it's movement. Tight shots really create intimacy and emotion. Now, with all those in mind, when you mix them together, wide, medium, and tight shots, that's when the secret to visual storytelling gets really strong. It can be tempting to tell an entire story in one frame, but I think the magic of photography comes alive when you tell a story in a series of images, an image set. And obviously it depends on the medium that you're sharing those images through, but I think that photo essays are a great way to express your vision through a series of wide, medium, and tight shots and really bring people into that story and that moment in time. So speaking of moment, section 3 is all about moment. When it comes to moment, photographers who really see like a photographer notice the difference between a snapshot and a memorable image. And it's often just a fraction of time. A great photo isn't just about what something looks like, it's about when that moment happens in time. So what you need to do is first anticipate the moment. A lot of photography is about anticipation. You need to predict when that peak action is coming. This involves listening, watching, and thinking ahead instead of just reacting as things happen. You need to start looking for patterns, for people walking into light, someone about to laugh, or a moment building. The more you anticipate moments, the more intentional your photography will become. A photo mentor of mine once shared the analogy that you could throw traps at mice, or you could set a mouse trap and wait for the mice to come to you and take the bait. So good photos are worth the wait. And that's my next tip, is wait longer. One of the biggest mistakes photographers make is taking the photo too early. Sometimes the difference between an okay image and a great or spectacular image is literally just a minute or a matter of minutes. Waiting that extra time might feel like forever when you're actually trying to get something done, whether it's for a client or just being out in the world. You get impatient, but waiting is worth it. You might be waiting for a better gesture, a cleaner composition, better spacing, stronger emotion. Those things can completely transform the frame. And I always try to work the scene to find good light, then composition, and then wait for that moment. And that's my next tip, is shooting through the moment. Sometimes the best image happens after the obvious moment, after the pose, after the laugh, after people relax. I encourage you to keep shooting a little longer than feels necessary. I've been noticing this theory in practice with some of my commercial projects recently that involve on-camera interviews. And sometimes the most impactful statements that come are after you tell people the interview is over, and hopefully before you stop recording. Sometimes the most natural moments happen when things are kind of calm and relaxed, and they just happen unexpectedly. So when in doubt, shoot through the moment. All right, so photography isn't just about cameras, it's about learning to see. And once you start noticing light, composition, and timing, your photos will improve dramatically, regardless of what camera you own or equipment you have. But noticing those things is only half the equation. In my next video, we'll talk about what photographers control, things like shutter speed, aperture, camera angles, and layering, because seeing the shot is one thing, but creating the feeling you want in the final image is another. So stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed so you see that video when it comes out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.